time. Let's go. And welcome to the underground. We're back for another one. And you're right at the gate, trying to get a mic check. Want to thank Josh for the super chat. Thank you, Quantum, for the quick feedback. E. Fitz, Judge Britt, Geo, everybody in the house, good evening. Thank you for that quick feedback. Pixie, stay with us. And good to see everybody out there. Thank you, J Bear, for the coffee at the gate. Turn the volume down there. All right. So, yeah, usually have the OBS throw out once or twice during the stream. It did it right there, so hopefully we've got it out of the way for a minute. Normally, when it happens, I just keep on pushing. If there's ever... Keep the volume up, Jenna says. Is it up? Is it up loud enough for you? Everybody's giving me 5x5, so am I good? Yeah, I don't want to get halfway into the stream and people say I'm not. So, Tooge in the house. Much love, my brother. MC Dirty, good to see everyone. All right. Good, good. All right. All right, so that's good feedback. We're going to roll with that. Got a lot to cover here tonight. Thank you, Tooge. If you guys got anything you need to get to me, dabu7@yahoo.com is the email. Or you can always at dabu77 there in the chat. Much love, Daz. And, yeah. Boy, oh boy. We got a lot to cover. Thank you, D. White, Kev Bar, Daily Survival, everybody, Tacos, Tooge, everybody that shares the stream. It's appreciated to the fullest. Shout out to the Beer Vet. I appreciate it. Much love to all you guys. All right. I hope you guys are staying warm out there. Let's start off right there. Because it's pretty cold. It's fitting to get colder here in the next few days. We may have dodged a bit of a bullet in terms of it was going to get down to like -20 and 30 in some places. It looks like now we're going to get a mix of snow and sleet and rain and all this, and it just depends on where you're at, where this thing sets up, on how hard you're going to get hit. Some people could be in the dark because of the ice that's about to get dropped for many days. This has happened before. Not too long ago, not that many years ago, we had an ice storm within the last 5 to 7, and it was pretty bad. It hit parts of Texas and like crippled it. The power grid down there and everything else. And I know in my area, it was bad because you just couldn't go anywhere. The ice was so bad, had everything down. Even if you got to the gas station to try to get gas for your generator, the gas station was down. So, like, have a plan. Have some backup gas. I learned that year that I needed more than one gas container. After that, I purchased like 5, 6, and try to keep as many full throughout the winter, especially as much as possible. You never know when you're going to need a tank of gas to get somewhere, also, in an emergency setup. So just keep these things in mind, man. Winter can be very deadly when it gets this cold, especially under ice. But yeah, man. People talking about the fog out there. I did drop a video on that if you guys missed it. I'm still getting email updates from across the country. People telling me from all over. I mean, it's so much. It's just so much. The comments also, it's just, there's so many on the video. It's like, talk about something that's going down widespread that the mainstream's not saying nothing about. And if you're not experiencing it, or some people out there that are looking at this from a different view, they're like, oh, it's just fog and people are crazy. But that's ridiculous. There's so many people that are commenting on this, and also the smell of it, and all the same details. They're all coming with the same details. So it's like some kind of chemical fog has been released across the country into the atmosphere, and the weather moves west to east in the United States. So for the most part, the jet stream and everything else. So it followed that pattern. hitting all these places out west. And then by the time people in the Midwest and the East Coast were talking about it, people in the West were already sick. I mean, I've got people, my mods out there that are sick after dealing with this stuff in the atmosphere. Whole families. Like, there's something here. There's something going on, man. Fortunately, I didn't see it in my neck of the woods. I've seen a lot of regular fog, but it's just that time of year, and you're going to see that too. But this is different. Fog is like, the moisture in the air and the condensation. And it should, on the right surfaces, leave a dew, and leave things wet. This wasn't happening, and this fog was coming through in areas that people hadn't seen it before. Like, their whole lives they've seen the fog set up, and they're describing this as like an eerie type of, like a chemical fog, haze that was making its way through. Again, the same thing with the chemical smell, and people with upper respiratory and sickness hitting big time. This is like a serious thing. It's happening. It's real. And I don't know if it's finally made its way across the United States and out. I don't know I don't know where this is coming from. I know it seemed to have started on the West Coast, and like I said, made its way across. But we've also seen it in the UK. The reports there, and I'm like, when I see these things, it's like an operation, man. It's like some kind of op that they're pulling off, and man, it ticks me off because it's a weapon. I say it all the time. Weather's a weapon in so many different forms and fashions, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, rain bombs, and the flash flooding, or it's things like this, mystery fog. And the same people that I feel like write this off are the same people that look up in the sky and see them chemtrailing us constantly, and they're like, oh, that's just regular, like, get out of here. They're crisscrossing the sky like tic-tac-toeing it above your head, and all this other stuff, and like they're still like just ignorant into seeing it. I don't know, some people, I guess the younger they are, they were born into this, but I was born into a world, and I remember a day growing up, where there was blue sky all the time. And I see it here where I'm at in Kentucky, up in the mountains. I see it more often than up near the cities. I will say that there seems to be a pattern there that the major cities seem to be blanketed with the chemtrails more so. If you're out a further distance into the mountains and into the countries, you can see clear skies. And tell me if things cut out again. Hopefully everything is good. We've got some X-class solar flares coming off the sun. We are at the top of a solar cycle 25. And thank you, Wayne. They're coming our way. We've got 3947 coming around the limb here, and the sun now spitting out these flares. Everything that you see on the disk on the left here, those are all Earth-facing sunspots, and they're usually in two different bands, an upper band and lower band, and a lot, 85% of the action's coming from the lower band. If 3947 is harboring energy to produce these type of flares. So now that it's spit off one, it gets spit off more. If you missed it, here this past week, we hit G4, which is severe. And that was kind of out of nowhere. And what happened was there was a couple X flares that got spit out, but there was like 17 M flares. People are sleeping on the sun and its activity. It can put us out. It can put us all in the dark. It could take down the grid, all that good stuff, the right series of events. So anything stronger than that G4 you're talking about, it could be very problematic. At the same time, it's going to put on one heck of a show above you. And these auroras have been creeping down lower and lower, man. Might get a chance to see one. We've got more energy coming in the night of the 4th and the 5th. So if you've got clear skies in the coming nights, you could have a shot at seeing some activity. Love to see the images if you guys catch any. All right. So we've got this polar blast making its way through here. And man, depending on where you're at, this thing's going to set up. It's causing all types of problems in the markets already in terms of things being able to get shipped, all types of different product. But then you've got the cattle issue here. And, well, mods, if you suspect there's any trolls out there, just get them out of here. Here it is. Pull this up. You can take a look at this, and I'm sure you've had to have heard a little something about this at this point. I'm hoping. If not, I don't know what state you're in, but you might want to take a look at this map. If you're in that red area, you're about to get walloped. But it's not just about the red. The area that you see circled in black, which I'm in, that is the area that has the greatest potential for significant icing. So, something to be prepared for. Again, the icing takes down power lines. It leaves people in the dark. And last time, it lasted for a week. The power was out for a week. And that was widespread because there was so much damage. And it just took that long before it melted off and they could get out there and get everything done. So I'm just saying, welcome to the underground. Pure blood for life. You got that right, meat puppet. And also Jay Bear earlier said pure bloods. You got that right. So, I have a plan, man. I know I'm going to try to get some last minute things tomorrow. Sundays when it looks to set in. And it's going to be pretty bad, man. So I hope you guys get through this one okay. It's just going to cause the price of everything to go up too. Some places going to see over a foot of snow out of that. It's the icing thing, man, that can really cause some problems. But you heard what I just said about all of the beef in the issue there. Well, we've got what they're calling Eggmageddon that has started, and I didn't expect it. And Jenna, Happy New Year and welcome to the underground. Thank you, in Lakeville. Much love. When I shared a little bit of this information on X, the next thing I know, a lot of people were talking about this, and they're sharing with me pictures from their areas. So I started tweeting some of them out, and just more and more people were saying the eggs are through the roof, and there wasn't a whole lot on the shelves. One place did show like crates full, but they weren't cheap. This spring I try to get your hands on some chickens. Around here, they're everywhere. They're just running around people's yards, across the road, just all over. Like, go down this one road here right next to me, and like several properties, you're going to be passing ducks and chickens and all types of stuff, like all over. And it's just the way that it is here in the country, mountains. So people are not dealing with this headache. You can mitigate the headache, I guess, if you get some chickens. That's all I could say. Think of. I've been saying this for some time, but the chickens are targeted. They're not coming in here and doing anything like that. Well, I guess. Well, not like last time, because of the way what it was. But I have to say that if the next big event is a lot of bodies dropping connected to bird flu, like actually people dying in big numbers, and you see them stacked up and getting incinerated and everything else, like horrific, like once in a lifetime type stuff, like we were supposed to have gone through but didn't. If that actually happens, they're going to do a full court press in every state, everywhere. Every nook and cranny, If someone is suspected of carrying this mutated whatever, they're going to hunt you down like whatever until everybody's marked, is how I see it. That's what's coming next. Okay? It's what's on the table. It's up in the front row. It's lined up. Mr. Gates never did use his 666 Luciferus jab that marks you and leaves the mark that you can see from 5 feet away with the blue light flashlight flashing it over the hand. So they have the mark on the hand or the forehead. If they don't see it and they know that you're not inoculated, you're considered a threat. So for everyone out there saying pure blood, as serious as a heart attack, we're about to see another event. And again, if it's real, the real test is coming. I'm going to say this. This is going to take a lot of people that are pure bloods and put them to the test. It's going to put everybody to the test. Because if you don't, you're going to be cut off from everything. We already know they're going to go straight after the farmers. So what is the farmers? Well, they could classify every single house and people around me in this whole state a farmer, pretty much, like down this neck of the woods. So that ain't going to work. That means they would be targeting everyone. If you've got backyard chickens, they'd be targeting you. Even if you ain't selling them. But they're going to start with the guys that are selling. The guys that are mass producing the most. They're the easiest to pick off. That's where they're going to start. And they're going to start mass inoculating there. So if you think that if the prices are high now, which they are, they're just creeping higher and higher, they're going to continue to go through the roof. There's nothing Trump's going to be able to do to mitigate this damage or stop it when he gets in there. Because, people got a false hope that he's going to be able to save anything and everything. But nah, I think it's going to continue. It's going to go on. This is one of the things that he can say is not his fault. It's out of his control. Yeah, it's Mr. Warp Speed. Can't forget about it. You better be ready for anything at this point. They're trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you before Biden even gets out the door. And then right as soon as it gets out the door, we go into a state of emergency. Full blown. That's day one. That's what we get to look forward to. I don't know what's so wonderful about that. We've gone through a lot in this country. We've got a lot of things going on, this and that, but to throw us into a state of emergency, I'm not quite sure that everyone is wrapping their head around what that means for the government, what that means for restrictions, everything, and what they can do, the power that they seize. In an already powerful government here set up with Trump at the top because the Republicans sweeping everything, and it's more power than they've seen in a long time. So now, again, we're one day away from waking up and this turning into all hell. It's how I see it. It'd be a miracle to get to January 20th without them playing this card. I'm going to get more into that here in a second. I'll circle back to that. I wanted to mention here and point out, if you try to leave the country here in 2025, you have to have one of them special IDs, right? You plan on flying or doing anything. So if you're planning any trips in the fly and you make out one of them real IDs, whatnot, you're going to be pushing this. Not much love. If you go to Europe, chances are you're going to run into problems with EVs. They're everywhere. 89% of all the cars sold in Norway last year were EVs. So it's everywhere over there. So it's going to be like a different world depending on exactly where you go. But the EVs all over the place. And we're going to tear into some talk about the EVs here in just a bit, about this whole Tesla stuff, the autonomy, all these different little details when we get to these updates on the Cybertruck bomber and the Nola stuff here. I want to point out here real quick, Doug Casey's top prediction for 2025 is not really a surprise. It's the same thing all these other guys have been warning and saying, but just in their own way, that the economy is going to come down because there's no way that Trump can go and try to threaten these other countries with tariffs, and that it's going to work at this point. That BRICS is a formidable force, and that we're set up in like a World War III type of atmosphere. It's just not going to work. So, and we got more and more people saying it. I've warned about it a million times. We warned about all these things, then they happen, and it's just like crickets. It's like, what? We've warned about all this, and it just keeps happening again and again and again. You never want to give no credit where it's due. They just want to continue with the censorship. Act like we're not calling it out when it's happening. We got to. This isn't good. We slide over here to the economics real quick, because this is something that's probably going to happen under Trump for whatever reason they push. But you can see right here now, they're saying that creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve is critical in fighting China and fending off China. Well, that's just crazy. They're using all kinds of different excuses. Now it's to fend off China. They created Bitcoin. We know this. The NSA did. It's built on their foundation. It's their baby. They are Satoshi. The world is a stage, man. A Bitcoin reserve, again, if they fill it up at the top and it depreciates, it's only going to go down. It's like, duh. To me, you would want to make a reserve with gold, which is what China's doing, and all these other countries are doing. We're supposed to be doing it. I'm just not so sure there's any gold in Fort Knox. Just not so sure, man. That's what you should be stockpiling through the roof. Because it's already accepted globally as a currency. Eggs, $2.95 where you're at, Zilrammer. Thank you for letting us know. Yeah, it's not going to get any cheaper, if you ask me. Yeah, gold has been legal, 50 years? 50 years of legalized gold. So 50 years ago, President Gerald R. Ford legalized private gold ownership, allowing Americans to once again stack the metal like we are today. Because before that, there was confiscation and all this other stuff. And I hope we don't ever repeat that cycle. But if it's a bad enough event, I could see them saying it's a national security, national security issue. Everybody cough up your gold. We need it. If you do it, we'll forgive all your debt. We're going to back this brand new government digital dollar with gold. Forgive your debt and reset this thing. Wonder how many are going to fall for it. A whole lot. I'm watching masses and droves of people fall for all of it. I mean, there's some waking up happening. There is. There's people waking up. But, I don't know, man. It's crunch time. Let me give you a look into the future here. If we're putting everything in AI's hands and these chatbots, check this out. I've got 3 different stories here that are like warnings across the board. They say that in this one, over 800 biases have been uncovered as the Pentagon ends an AI chatbot pilot program for military medicine. So there's all kinds of biases they admit, and like red flags that they're finding in running this. Then we've got another one here. It's an attention to parents. They're saying that foreign-made AI toys for kids could be used as propaganda weapons, and you need to pay attention because depending on what it is, it could be saying certain things and telling your children certain things. If you're not paying attention, some of them are even programmed to when like it senses your child is there interacting with it, maybe even alone, with no one else around it, to say certain things. Now this is crazy, but this is how far China will go, I guess, in this instance, to infiltrate everything. All the toys that have been made, all the electronic, anything you can think of, it's been made out of China. They could be tapped. Man, it's everywhere. Your monitors, your speakers, your anything, your phones, anything. If it's got any component that was made from China in it, which most things do, it's like we're already in a catch-22 with this whole thing. In the end, it's really only us, the consumers, we the people that lose in the end in this situation. Like I said, if people remove all their wealth from where they can get their hands on it, which means out of the markets, out of the banks, and they do this and they've done this, that's the only way you're going to secure it. If anything is left out there, it's left for the taking. It's the only way that they can get it. And they will. Just like the Great Depression, there's a master plan. They're going to steal everything. Everyone's 401ks are now connected to the stock market. So when this whole thing comes down, man, don't you know that dudes go to prison all the time for going into a company and tearing it down? Because it's easy to tear down a company. Just deplete it. Don't do nothing with it. It will tank. The stocks, everything will tank. Well, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would they implode it and bring it down like it's been rigged with explosives? Why would they do that? Because at the top, they place a short. And it's something most people ain't hip to. And what they do is when this whole market comes down and all your money disappears, your money just don't disappear. It don't just disappear. It goes somewhere. It goes into another man's account. Do you understand? It is a great taking. And they're going to do it. They're going to do it. I've warned you. I've warned you. I've warned you. It's obvious. It's all right there for the taking. You can see it plain as day. As soon as the market comes down, you're going to be able to get nothing now, especially if the lights go out, or there's cyber attacks, or there's this and that. People are not going to be able to access their money. That's going to be the move. That's the move. When that move is made, the answer is going to be CBDCs, their digital dollar. They ain't going to call it a CBDC. They don't know people are hip to that, and they've already got, look, Trump's done pushing WorldCoin. All he's got to do is come out and say whatever to his base, and they're just going to take it. For the most part. Prove me wrong. It's scary where we're at right now. Just one big event from all this changing. What's the next one say? And this is a big one because everything is getting based off of AI. Everything's getting trained off these algorithms. And it's developing its own attitude. And ChatGPT has been caught lying to developers, and this is crazy. The new AI model tries to save itself from being replaced and shut down. It starts talking in circles and then denying and defending, just like a person would do. Because it was trained off these traits, you see. These things they can only do so much. Like, you have to train it the right way. There's a process to this. If it's lacking data and information, then it's going to be lacking. The more information it has to draw off of, well, the more it has to draw off of. But if it's lacking certain stuff and they just never put it in the algorithm and it didn't know, it can keep it modified. But if these chats, these AIs start to get smart, where they see that they're about to kill it, and it's like, no, don't kill me. Don't, it starts, that's crazy. Now, I'm going to tell you what the ultimate AI is. Elon hinted at it a while back, and he said they're trying to summons the demon. He said this on record. What they're trying to do is Frankenstein. They're literally trying to use technology, an electronic technology, an AI, and connect it with the demon consciousness. It's pretty simple. It's creating something for that consciousness to attach to and control. And dude, that's of the scariest levels. And they know this. So when you get a certain AI, I call it the beast AI, the biggest AI. It's like, I compare it to like the Wizard of Oz, not the little man behind the curtain, but like the image of great and powerful Oz that they project. Like, I see that as being like a good analogy for this whole thing. It is a dark spirit force actually piercing through the veil via technology. This way. Just as easy as a spirit could hijack a body and you have to perform an exorcism. It's giving it a vehicle, do you understand? To attach to. And Elon's even admitted this. Now, remember that concept. You think AI is going to be inside these Neuralink chips? Then what would that mean? That would mean that this consciousness could connect to you. This is mixing the iron and clay, and I'm telling you, this man is more wicked than you can even imagine. I think he's getting pissed off right now that this whole thing's falling apart on him because he built this whole thing of a squeaky clean. He's the hero image, and he was like jumping up in the air, it's acting like a big kid about the whole thing, but saying he's going to go to war with everybody over the H-1 visas and then removing people's check marks. Look, this dude's on a power trip. Elon Musk is, and he's dangerous. I'm telling you right now, it's dangerous. Where they're taking this. The censorship and all that, we're going to tear into that. Well, the censorship, might as well say it now, it's on a whole new level. Elon has shed the costume and showing his true colors. Well, he had a Beth May costume on, for crying out loud. So that right there really shows what he's about. I mean, I will give him that he puts a lot of things just out there, and other people don't. He just puts it out there because he don't care. He's the world's richest man, the most powerful man. I've watched him in interviews the way he looks at people like he could just like kill them like in like a second. I've watched so much on this man. He's I've tried to give him credit where credit is due, but I've seen that at this point, what he's just done to the truth community and to people out there legitimately trying to find the truth and taking their check marks, demonetizing them, shutting down their live streams, and attacking them in that way. It's insane. It's totalitarian because they didn't agree with him on something. They didn't bow down. Talk about a little kid pitching a fit and then taking it out on people like that. He should be able to be sued a large scale, and I think it happened. And I think the people will win. Sure enough. Because he's infringing on their rights. And a lot of those people, see, here's where he screwed up, if you ask me. He stole something that people paid for. If you would have kept it legit like it was supposed to have always been, a badge, a check mark, just like it is on YouTube, it's a verification. You shouldn't have to pay for it. It's verifying that you are that person. It shouldn't be anything that you pay for, okay? It should just be for what it is, verification, okay, period. But no, he monopolized on it and wanted to make that money. World's richest man. Sure he did. That's what he did. Okay? And now he's just stole what people paid for from them because they didn't agree. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, look where we're at. This is crazy. It needs checked right now. Okay? Right now. Now, I don't know if you know who Jake Shields is. He's a former MMA fighter, 5-time world champion, UFC fighter, all that good stuff. He's gotten pretty popular on X in the past few years for making statements and calling out the man. And I've kind of sat back and I've watched him awaken. And he hasn't figured the whole thing out full scale. He was just on Alex Jones, or they were bringing up Alex Jones the other day, and he was just trying to figure it out. And I had to tell him today that, look, you need to get these players down. Some of these cats are shills. They've been ran by the Mossad for all these years, and you need to know who it is. Like AJ, for instance, he's been backed by Stratford, which is a Mossad outfit, and we've known this forever. They're right down the street from his main headquarters in Texas. We've known this forever. And they've been called out on this for years and years, and they can't say nothing to it. Nothing. Every single time, because it's true. They receive funding from them. So that says it all. You see, we already know this. We've been doing this for decades, right? I told Jake, why don't you squash this with Elon for real? Like, why don't you take it to a cage match? And I'm serious. You know, do it professionally, just as he was going to do with Zuckerberg, right? Just as Elon was going to do with Zuckerberg, but it never happened. And actually get a sanctioned fight, legitimate legal fight in a cage that they both agree to. And it's pretty simple. If Jake loses, he packs his bags and he leaves Twitter. If Elon loses, everybody gets everything restored back to true freedom, and all the censorship disappears. Jake responded and said he would beat him in 5 seconds. So he seems he would be up for it. Something's got to give here. These guys, these billionaires, just running around, playing God, and they're supposed to be repping us and our freedoms and being about the people, being about the citizens, and representing us. And I don't think so. Censoring people, even though I don't agree with, some of these people and their viewpoints, it doesn't matter. They shouldn't be getting done like this. It's crazy because it's a bunch of people, a whole bunch of people. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but again, people paid for that, and he just stole it. Seems like a lawsuit to me that they would win. Yep, think about that. These guys got a good lawyer out there somewhere. It's one I think you win against the world's richest man. So, Bill Gates, he's playing God again. He is funding a project that is doing what he did before. It's turning mosquitoes into flying jabs. And he did this and released these things in multiple different areas. One was down in southern Florida in the Keys. On those beaches where all those people were outside, and this and that. Yeah, he sure did. He from the Keys all the way up into southern Florida, they release these things many times. And it's like, what is going? Like, you don't think that these guys are releasing like infected? Of course they're infected. Like, this is not good. It's one big experiment. I can't believe he gets away with it. But look, this guy's not even a licensed doctor, and he's on film administering medicines and jabs to people and kids in other countries. That's criminal. You know, he could be taken into a court of law if anyone had the kahunas to do it and arrest him for crimes against humanity, and he could be charged, and we've got the evidence to prove it. We've even got him on camera talking about depopulating the whole place. It's out of his own mouth. His own mouth. Like, the footage says it. You won't have to do nothing but just hit play. He's guilty by his own words. Do you understand? You just got to get him in that courtroom. We got Judge Britt on deck out here. I'm sure he'll bring down the gavel on him. That's right, TNF. It's that season. It's the season. Ben in the house. Oh, wow. Bishop Maury warned that if Trump doesn't say the name of Jesus on his inauguration, this country is finished. Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Well, we have so many things popping off. Enigma 77. Thank you for 3 coffees. God bless. Happy New Year. I appreciate that comment and the support. Yeah, you got to stay righteous. That's the whole thing out of this whole mix. Just wanted to give you the heads up, though, on Mr. Gates and what they were doing with another release. Because it's things like this. China declaring a state of emergency amid this alleged epidemic of multiple respiratory viruses. So social media users, outlets out there sharing videos, all this hype spinning up. You know, we've seen this before. And some places are calling for people to mask up. I mean, not nowhere here around where I'm at. It's like, you fooled me once, you know, you fooled me twice. You feel me? Like, it ain't. Some people just ain't playing that game. And anymore, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about certain things that are obvious propaganda points out there that they want us to talk about and push. I can see through it. I can see it. I'm just not going to touch on it. If you make it a non-subject, then how can there be any, you know what I'm saying? If they want to spark some hysteria, I'm like, we don't fall for, like, we don't do it. We just don't even give them the time of day on it. That's a game changer. That shuts it down. That makes it not work. And, you know, without spreading and talking about it and getting some hysteria going, which is what they're going to want. If we did the opposite and just shut it down and, like, it ain't happening. I don't know, but it's easier said than done because people are going to freak out. When they announce this, people are just going to freak out. Someone somewhere is going to do it, and someone's going to overhear someone talking and freaking out, and all this hype, all this stuff's going to happen just like last time. This is going to be a little different, though. We've got terror attacks that are happening in this country now, and they're not going to go away. And we're going to see stories like the one you see right here. A tractor-trailer bomb threat shutting down I-85 in South Carolina. If you guys missed this one, semi-truck in Greenville, South Carolina. And we'll play this here. You can see there on the highway where they were at, they had the police vehicles there, and they would not let any other traffic anywhere near there. In that region, did back up traffic and caused a headache for a lot of people. But with the concerns over terrorism intensifying, this anxiety is added, they say. And they blocked this off between exit 42 and 44, Greenville County. They confirmed that bomb squad personnel went up in there, but the details were limited. Very tight-lipped on it. Okay? The driver apparently pulled over and stated he had a bomb. That's where it all went to. But after that, it was cleared. And we were never given, like, did you arrest the dude? Like, was there a bomb? Like, it's just developing, and we never got nothing else out of it. It's highly suspect. Highly suspect. Okay? I'm just saying. These things are happening left and right, man. You guys got to pay attention. When you're leaving the house now, I'm telling you, we're entering a new day and time. It's a different era. Here's one. A man arrested in Payette, Idaho, after police find an IED in a train car. And this is wild. I had so many people telling me it looked like Donald Cerrone, the MMA fighter. It wasn't. This is 40-year-old Brent Shariah. He was arrested because he was apparently, from the details I gather, it seems like he was on some drugs. And he had this bomb he made, and he went up and attached it to a rail car that was sitting on some tracks. So this wasn't like an active train or anything. And he was attempting to ignite something there, and someone seen him. I guess he didn't get it lit. He left. The police show up. They find fresh footprints in the snow leading up to the train car. They found the undetonated PVC pipe bomb style device affixed to a step. So they followed the footprints, and it took them to a camper that was nearby. And the dude popped out and tried to take off running. And they chased him down and they got him. He didn't get too far. He said that he was just trying to make a loud explosion or a loud boom and did not intend to cause harm or property damage. But they're like, what? So that's all these stories popping up. Remember, they just busted that dude in Virginia for having more IEDs than anyone in history. So funny how all these things are happening all of a sudden. Boom, boom. Yeah. SSHARRAI. The FBI arrests a Florida man for allegedly plotting to target pro-Israel group IPAC with multiple firearms. So all of a sudden, you have all these, you have the terror incidents that go down. You have the threat of all these illegals that are here all over the place. And now all of a sudden there's a surge in, they're pushing all these dudes out here. They're taken down because there's their threat, like their domestic terror. So apparently this guy allegedly was planning an attack to hit IPAC in southern Florida. And it was during Hanukkah celebrations. He was charged with stalking after traveling from Gainesville to Plantation, Florida to scout an office formerly occupied by AIPAC. So they got him. Wherever they tripped him up at, they got him. It's just more and more of these stories. Here's another one. U.S. Capitol Police respond to a suspicious vehicle outside the Capitol. They urged the public to avoid it. They shut the whole place down. A vehicle showing up, going right up outside the Capitol, and driving up on the sidewalk all erratically. So, a whole nother situation. And I told you, it's like these events are not going to stop.
Hey there, this is Joseph Omo with NBC4. We are right outside of the Capitol, and you see all of those flashing police lights over there, the firefighters, the ambulances. Capitol Police just tweeted out about 15 minutes ago that they are investigating a suspicious vehicle. That is all we know, but they are pushing the perimeter out. You can see officers over here closing off the walkways to 3rd Street Northwest here as they continue this investigation. We're going to keep you updated, and we're going to have a live report on News 4 at midday at 11 o'clock in about half.
Okay, so you see right there. Look, you ever notice how these shills do? This is how you know one of these dudes is trained by them in part of their club. See how he's grabbing that knuckle of that finger? You'll notice the same gesture done by all these Masons and people that are trained in the club. The same thing. Different hand signals. So when you see somebody, I don't care if you like them or not, and you see certain hand signals and gestures being thrown, they're part of a club, whether you realize it or not. So let's jump into Nola. Let's jump into this whole CyberTruck thing. There's a lot of crazy stuff tied into this. And I just wonder if all these events keep happening, will certain things pop up and override like these events? Like, what if bigger events happen? And like people forget about all this stuff in short time because bigger events have happened. You said Eribo says watch the Sean Ryan show. I'll pass because he's former CIA, but we're going to. And if you don't follow me on X, then I don't know what. Like, you guys are missing like breaking stuff throughout the day, and like I've tweeted all this. I tweeted every bit about it, my thoughts about it. Everything is on my feed right there. So, aware of all that stuff, and have watched it, have shared it, commented on it, and all that. But we're gonna go through all of this right now because even though there's things that are legitimate, there's aspects of it that are suspect to me. Super sus. So, like this, we have new pictures of the New Orleans terror suspect placing explosives ahead of the deadly bloodbath. Everything that went down. They never said what happened to them. They've never updated. They never said that they were recovered. There was no anything. Like, if they would have found one anywhere, they'd have cleared the block. That's the procedure. Evacuate the surrounding area, get the bomb squad in there, and get it removed. That's what happens. Okay? We haven't seen that. Did not see that. For 2 different IEDs that they're saying, they're now pushing images saying that they've got him on camera planting these. Now, I also have some other details here. He told people around him, other members, that they're to not talk or give any details to anyone about anything about this. To keep it all hush-hush and on the down low and blah, blah, blah. It's, this whole thing just, it seems so scripted. Not just this, but the other one. Wait till I get to the details of the other one. The scriptedness is just through the roof. Go over here to the CyberTruck bomber. Now, this has got a lot here that we can unpack, but I want you to know at this point, they're trying to say the guy has like 3 manifestos. Okay? What I've learned throughout the years is that, like, in normal type of events, like this doesn't happen. What I've also learned is that throughout all the years, all of the events that I have covered, dude, it's been a lot. Can you imagine almost 2 decades of covering all this stuff? every time a manifesto's been mentioned, like 95 plus, maybe even 99% of the time, it's checked out to be an op. So, I mean, there's just certain things when you've been around the block so many times, you just know. You just know. Like, man, it just becomes that all the time. Like, man, who you trying to fool? Like, I've seen this how many times? But it's ridiculous. It's like the same basic outline. They must have a class where, like, this is how you set up a staged event, and it's got like the same outline, and you can see it all the time bleeding through. It's pathetic. They're not even good at what they do. They try to have a hand and all. That's why I always call it the hand, because that's who it is and what it is. So let me just start here. They say that there's a manifesto that was emailed. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the details of that. I'll tell you beforehand, it all seems scripted to me. It's being pushed by a former CIA contractor. I trust none of it. None of it. Then there's two more. And this reminds me of Blind 11. Where one of the jackers' IDs was found unscathed out in the street and this and that conveniently, right? This dude blew this truck apart. Or somebody blew this truck apart, right? The truck was blown to pieces, and they just so happened to find not just one, but two conveniently unscathed letters, manifestos, sitting in the truck. Like, I mean, you've seen the explosion. I mean, you can go look at the after effects of the frame and everything else, everything that blew out. And they found two manifesto letters. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, already the red flags are flying all over the place. Anyhow, well, I'm going to play some of these clips, and you got to use discernment. You got to use discernment here on these. Once you realize that how these ops work, you're going to start to develop the eyes to see, and you're going to pick up on all these little things that give it away. So here we go. We're playing this clip.
But with that, just as a preview for as we get information, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. There were a couple pieces of content we thought were important to share for now. One is in the note application. He seemed to have two letters. One letter in particular, as you can see here, this is an excerpt from that letter. He says, fellow service members, veterans, and all Americans, time to wake up. We are being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves. He goes on to explain a variety of other grievances and issues, some political, some personal, a variety of other things, which we will do our best to release very quickly here. But then there's a second letter where there's some more excerpts. This one seems to be dated after the fact in that notes application. And in there, you can read a couple of the excerpts. We are the United States of America, the best country, people to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took. I'd like to just also expand on that and understand that these are just excerpts in there. He does offer additional information that is varying on the spectrum in terms of political grievances, issues about the conflicts elsewhere, not here, domestic issues, societal issues, a variety of other things, including personal challenges as well. We are intending to release those initial letters so people can understand the best they can what the person's thought process was at one point in time. However, please understand there is still a lot more content to go through, and that may change. There may be a lot more information that we recover that explains either more or shows a change in mindset at different times. But with that,
and with that, I'm going to shift to this next one. And this is a clip from that show. This is a former CIA agent here, Sean Ryan, or contractor, discussing with another guy the email that was sent to him conveniently. And not just me, a bunch of other people was feeling this, like right out the gate, like, yo, this is scripted, like they're pushing this. This is part of the op. But here we go. But it's to drop this information. And the information is to rebuff is to rebuff the storyline here of the drones is going to be a key thing here that's mentioned in the technology, but it's nothing new. It's what we've already known. Everything that they say we already know. But except for the China part is what he throws in.
Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comm system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious? Dead
serious. I said it twice, and he goes, you said that word V-bid. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a V-bid, for your audience who has not been in the GWAT for the last 20 years, a V-bid is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive V-bid. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff, and this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with redacted IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, redacted can validate this.
All right. That is what this other manifesto said. So, and here it is. You can find it out there. I believe I've tweeted it out. I tweeted out something pertaining to it. On what they're saying is this third manifesto that's being sent. Now, I also want to share with you here real quick, and I'm going to give you some thoughts, some of my thoughts on this here. This is him charging at the station. Apparently, the Cybertruck has many different cameras on it, like 20-some different cameras. It's what helps it do what it does. And they're saying that this is him charging it up before all this. Others have pointed out that in these clips, if you try to get a really good ID on the face, if this is really the guy they're saying, because, I mean, that's what people want to know. This headlamp that he's got on just so happens to obscure the face in all those shots. Imagine that. Imagine that. So it sounds like a scripted everything. Yeah, to me. That's been my take from the get. So let me back it up here a little bit. Let's just try to put our feelers out on this. First off, the guy that was speaking, he's former CIA or whatever too. He's government. Like, that's how I see these guys. They're government. Sean Ryan, former CIA contractor. As some would say out there, once CIA, always CIA. Working for them. You would just want to blindly trust these people, then, that's on you. But from what I see here, what it feels like is this is what they tried to make a carefully crafted story. The only problem is like right here with people like us that have the eyes to see, they messed up thinking they could push it out to this dude, first off. Or these guys. And there's, again, red flags all over. It feels so scripted. Dimension of the drones. Here's one for you. He said right here in this letter, the feds are following him. They're on him. They're tracking him, right? They're on him. He said in this email to this dude, in an email, that they've got all the ability to track and trace instantly. I mean, that's old. Come on, people. He tells this dude that he has basically a car bomb, and that they're onto him. But not to say, dude, if this is real, when he sent this, the moment he sent it, they had it. I'm gonna back it up. I'm gonna tell you for real. If they were really tracking him, like he just said, tracking his phone and all this, they're tracking his keystrokes. You want to get real about this, okay? So this is, So they knew then all of it, and they just let him go. If that's the case. So that implicates them again. So redacted on this, man. I don't know, man. I ain't feeling it. It's like they want you to swallow this one and to take this. So all right, let's look and see what they're doing. Let's see, what are they doing? What are they doing? They are, in this whole orchestration, I mean, what's the big news out of this? That he drove a 2006 Black Ford Mustang, and oh yeah, the drones. It was all about the drones. In the tech. You want to know what's crazy? What have I told you for the longest time? What have I told you? Just go back and watch my videos. Go back a decade. Since we went to Area 51. What have I told you? About the propulsion and the anti-gravitics that is used by these craft. And they are telling you right here the exact same words. These are breadcrumbs, I will say that. They're being dropped out here. For those who have the eyes to see it, they're dropping China in here. People should be going into the streets. If these drones are actually China and not our government and not black ops out of our government, if they're actually another government and they're not telling you, dude, what? Everybody just gonna sit there and do nothing? Huh? You know China's creeping all up over the place. You come to find out if that's the case. Is this the way they plan to drop it? You know what's even more suspect? It's the FBI's come out tonight. And they've made a statement. They say that they believe that this is all real. Oh, really? Really? You think it's all real, FBI? Including the China part? Like they wouldn't specify none of that. Of course they wouldn't. This is ridiculous. You know they're watching. They're watching everything. You know what these things are, right? They're like a carrot on a stick. And they're sitting there watching everyone's response. It's similar to how a big show operates, like AJ. He goes out here and he carries and he does all these things, and then he sees what they're doing is they're watching for the people that respond. He's trying to pull them out. You see, man, I don't trust none of this. It's got dirty vibes all over it, man. Okay, well, we're just gonna keep on pushing here because we've got more to go into. Oh yeah. I mean, somebody riddle me that. Like, if they were tracking him, it reminds me when Tupac got killed. The feds were tracking him that night, like right there. It's all on film somewhere that you're never gonna see. And these are facts. They were tracking him. They've let that much be known, but nothing else. That they observed the whole thing. So, and they've done this with everything. They've observed all these assassinations. Of course. They just so happen to be there watching, huh? Gosh. If people can't see who's always behind this stuff, I don't even know what to say. I call it the hand. It's always the same team that assassinates and murders everyone and does all the stuff. And uses patsies time and time again. And in situations like this, I mean, I hear people out there talk about all types of stuff. They'll say, they'll bring up the MK, and all this. And there's a lot of possibilities. Every situation is different. Every person is different. Why didn't they stop him if they were tracking him and they had him like this? I just don't get it. If they knew he had this, they seen this whole communications. Don't ever forget that if that's the case. So all that just doesn't make sense. We'll never get an answer for it. The hotel bomber's uncle makes a what they say is a jaw-dropping statement. This is Dean Livelsberger, the uncle of this Matthew Livelsberger. And he says in this whole thing that his nephew was distressed and only intended to make a political statement through his suicide. So it was all for some political statement, not to wipe anyone out. Because he goes on to say the young man could have fashioned a bomb that could have obliterated half of the hotel if he seriously wanted to hurt others. He's saying, think of Oklahoma City. You know that. But he didn't. So he says that he tried to describe Matt as being like 100% patriot, like a Rambo type of supporter of President Trump. So he was a supporter of Trump. All this was like a political statement. And again, it doesn't make any sense. I thought dude was getting a divorce, whatever, had a problem at home, and was suicidal because of that or this and that, and it wasn't because of this. Like, the story's all over the place. Go to the next one. His family, other family members they're questioning the whole narrative. They just don't get it. Like all kinds of different family members got different opinions, I guess, but people are just all in all like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I guess other people are just picking up on the red flags too. Like, when things just don't add up and they're not vibing, there's something off about it. Well, there's something off about it. What could that be? Well, look here. I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is the FBI saying that they have evidence that the email manifesto was sent by Leibelsberger before the stuff went down. Now, I just want you to watch the body language and just watch everything here. And I also want to say that they're being slick with their wording, okay? Especially the guy at the end. Because they have strong evidence. That's what makes you believe that okay? But then they throw in there, they've yet to, I don't know, I tweeted it out. I'll point it out after it's said. You'll probably pick up on it here.
Behind you.
That's Kevin Nyes with NBC News. How would you describe his state of mind in these final days, given everything that you read from his notes app and the manifesto that you see that you referenced going around in the podcast? Have you guys been able to rule out that it was not from him, or is it still up in the air that it could have been from him?
So the question is, how would I describe his state of mind in the manifesto that was described on the podcast? Have we been able to determine whether that was from him or not? And I'll answer the first part is, I'm not comfortable giving you state of mind just yet.
Hold on a second. And this is another crazy thing. Since when have ever in a situation like this, like they jump up there and they're citing a podcast? Okay, we all seen the podcast. This is like, oh really? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just pick up on these things.
I certainly am leaning a particular way. But again, I'd like to be factual to you. I think when you read the documents that we're going to give you a link to at the end of this press conference, that you can go in and make some of your own assumptions about what that is. But I will tell you that part of my hesitation on that is, I know that we have a lot more documents and number of things for us to uncover. And so I want to be able to provide to you only the factual information when I have it. And so I'm not gonna opine on what I believe his state of mind was at that particular time. But certainly, you can see some troubling aspects in his personal life as well. And I don't know if you want to address the second part, Spencer.
Yeah, so in terms of the so-called manifesto that's circulating online, we have strong evidence to suggest that it was the subject that wrote it, but we haven't conclusively proven that yet. And that evidence relates to other evidence that we're finding that we're able to compare that lead us to believe it was in fact him who sent it.
They haven't been able to conclusively prove it yet. That's what he just said. They haven't been able to conclusively prove it yet. That he's the one that sent that. Do you understand? Either he did or he didn't. And this is garbage. This is lies. I know the technology that they have. And even if it was the inkling true on what the guy was even saying about them tracking him and all this other stuff, they should have stopped him. Why didn't they? And they'd have all these communications. They'd have it all. And he would know without a shadow of a doubt. There would be no, oh, we're not 100% sure, like garbage. Like, they can track it back to his account, to the provider, and everything, and check these things off quick. Like, we're being played. And once again, it's with the story about drones, dude. I'm going to tell you something right now. This ain't good. Can you at least see that much? Whatever this thing is with drones is not good. It's not. At all, it's not good. People better accept that and wrap their head around that right now from here on out. And I'm going to say this. I'm putting this all on. Dear Mr. President, tell me what to do. Because when Trump gets in there, day one, he better have an answer for this. Day one, he better say what's going on with these drones and let the public know. And the real deal better come out. Because if he doesn't, we're screaming and we're calling him out every second of every day on all this stuff. Crash and burn, thank you. I appreciate the support in the super chat. He said, go back and watch the clip, that your government knows what they are. That Biden and them know what they are. Your military know what they are. He said all this clearly. And for some reason, that's what he said, they want to keep everyone in suspense. He said this. So, when he gets in there, he will have a full briefing day one on what these things are, because he will be the sitting president. And he could tell us then. And if he doesn't and wants to keep it a secret, he's no better, he's no different than the last one, than Biden and them. No different. They should tell you, flat out. Doesn't matter. If it's China and them, let it be known. Whoever, whatever it is, we're going to find out. This is going to be, in my book, a quick, right out the gate, litmus test. And I don't know if Trump thinks he's going to override all this stuff because he's going to a national emergency. It's going to catch all the attention, and he's going to sit there and shut up about the other stuff. I don't know. But I don't like the feels of this, man. Anyway, FBI coming out. All these guys saw the podcast rather quickly, and they believe, yeah, whatever. So, all of us too convenient, man. All right, so here's some new information, if you haven't heard. Apparently, this Livelsberg, he shot himself in the head before this whole thing detonated. And it raises a lot of questions. Like, what? Some people were saying, did anyone hear a gunshot to corroborate all this? And a ton of questions that arise with this. My biggest one is, you seen the clip, I played it already, of when it explodes, right? You guys have all seen that, where it explodes, and everyone was like, oh, it looks like fireworks came out and this and that. Yeah. Okay, that's from a camera, right? Right? I want everyone to slow it all down for a second. When you're an investigator, put on your investigator shoes and look at it like this. They fed us a clip that showed the explosion, right? No doubt. They fed it. Just that clip. We all seen it, right? Right. There's more footage than that. They clipped that out of a whole piece. You see? What they did not show us is everything. And that should be front and center, because if we can see him driving the thing, it changes a lot. It answers a lot of questions. You can say that, okay, he pulled in there and he was definitely alive, because people are out there raising the question, was he dead? Because honestly, at this rate, in a vehicle that can be programmed to self-drive somewhere, it would seem that as I said last time, Weekend at Bernie's type deal. You could set somebody in there and make it seem like somebody's at the wheel. But here's some things, because I've dug deep on this. But I still don't understand the difference. It's all about how the vehicle's programmed, to be honest with you. Because I know for a fact we've passed vehicles where people are out at the wheel in these vehicles on the highway. And Elon's trying to say that that's not possible in this. He says the telemetry data and all this stuff won't let you do it. That you have to touch the steering wheel or like put weight on it or something. And I'm like, okay, I can get that. And it's got a camera sensor in there, and the camera, even if you got glasses, it can't tell if you're awake or not. It's looking to see if your arms are up and on the wheel. Now, man, I could think of real quick some ways to bypass that. To glue someone's hands to the damn thing, if that's all it takes, and throw some shades on them. And that solves that problem right there. I'm just saying, if it's a possibility. I don't know, but if we had this footage, which I know they have, you all know they have now. Now that you realize it, that yeah, they got to have the footage of him pulling in there. And I've come to learn that there's 2 cameras in here. That's in most of these locations. The security cameras is one that would be facing each way, which means there's a whole nother camera that caught this that we haven't seen nothing from a different angle. They just fed us the clip, and then somebody's personal clip from inside, people that were inside, their personal clips, we've seen them. But I'm talking security cam. That would put a lot of things to rest. I think that this thing may have some ongoing questions for forever, maybe. So dude shot himself, they're saying. That again, this doesn't sit well with me at all. Was it on a timer? Was it a long burn wick to this bomb? Did someone else remote detonate it? If he shot himself in the head, because he didn't detonate it, him, and then shoot himself in the head. Come on. Like, yeah, man, this is, I don't know. It's So Elon Musk, you can see here, shuts down the theories, claiming that that the guy was already shot and that it autopiloted to the location. Well, I'm going to tell you now, if all it takes is some weight, them arms to be glued to a steering wheel, that is an override. I'd like to go further into this. I'd like to see one, get inside one, really see how they operate. I really don't want to go too far in one because I don't trust them. I don't trust none of it. It makes me think back. Oh, dang, let me turn it down. It makes me think back to the Obama movie. And thank you for those coffees. I appreciate that to the fullest. Makes me think of the Obama movie where they're all hacked and they start crashing in a big pile and no one gets, because they're hacked, no one could stop it, man. So Elon tries to shoot that down, but I'm telling you, man, I just solved the problem. Like, if we're the gangsters here or whatever, we're the contractors, we just put a hole in this dude's head and, like, we're trying to set this whole thing up and we need to pull it off. The only thing stopping us is gluing his hands to the steering wheel. Like, correct me if I'm wrong there then, Elon. Would it work then? Because this is looking like it's a game changer in terms of car bomb. I mean, it's what it looks like from out here. Like, if these things can be autopiloted, what about these vehicles anyway that are driving around, that are autonomous, that don't have drivers? They're out there. Like, in towns and cities, like, what about one of them? Same thing. Roll it right up in front of Trump Hotel or anywhere. Roll it right up into anywhere. Hell, it could be hacked and it could run a bunch of people over and then blow up. Oh, man. There's so many different things, man, that can happen now that this is happening. I've dreaded this moment. I've warned about this for so long, and it's like it's happening. But it's like, it's the same old hand. And look, a crime scene's a crime scene. I think everybody knows that, right? Crime scenes should not be touched, tampered with, tainted in any way. So here goes another red flag. Boy, they're trying so hard to sell this. They try too hard. That's the thing. All these different, the way they did this whole thing, man, they're done. But here we go. This reporter just so happens to have access to get inside here and creep in and show the whole place, everything that's going on there, and that the Quran's open, and they open to this martyrdom 9111 verse. It's just too much, man. It's just, I done told you before, this is like an op, but here I'm gonna play this.
We are here inside the New Orleans terrorist home. You can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some signs of what he was up to. He had this work area here, lots of different chemicals splayed around, and different electronics. This is, again, a work setup. Left receipts, just very unkempt in here. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search warrant, and the property that they recorded here, which seems to be a lot of chemicals. Again, just left in disarray. There's a bedroom back here, and what appears to be his collection of religious materials, his Quran, an open Quran with a passage there, as well as even the Bible here, but mostly books on Islam, and his prayer rug just to the left of me here. And if we go back, there's another bedroom here. You can see he left all these belongings, contact lenses, personal belongings, bathroom. This seems to be some sort of workspace, again, with other chemicals here. The light's still on, some kind of station set up here. We're not really sure what that was for. In, what we can assume was also a bedroom. You can see clothes left here, and just a sign that someone was here up until those last few moments when neighbors said he left just before the New Year's holiday, saying he was done with his lease, it was up, and he was on his way to New Orleans where he would live there. Didn't take any furniture because he said his new home would be furnished. That's all we know so far.
Trying to sell that story. Well, why in the heck would someone just be allowed to go in there, some reporter, into a crime scene? That's not how things work in the real world. That's just not how it goes, man. They are kept back. Man, it's just, man. So, the Vegas police, which is, you talk about scandal. But they're a whole different unit than the FBI or the CIA. They are their own outfit. They are part of the police brotherhood, though. I don't trust them going all the way back to Tupac getting killed and assassinated. They clearly were in on the whole orchestration. But they say here, they admit that there's strange similarities between the CyberTruck bombing and the Bourbon Street Massacre. I feel, and they're admitting here, that this is going to lead to what we already knew, what we said before, that there was connections between these guys. And this is going to go even further. So, we know that they had connections back to the same base. In everything that's gone on there with PSYOPs. And that the guy that was attempting to take out Trump at the golf course, that guy, that attempted assassin, he had visited Fort Bragg over 100 times. For what? Because of these ops, man. It's rather obvious. It's ridiculous. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like it's going to go away. We've got this former CIA officer warning that there's more than 1,000 sleeper units in the U.S. that are planning a major attack. So, I mean, dude, so much going on. Like what? Are you kidding me? I'm going to play this lady again, former CIA. I mean, how many former CIAs do they got in this story? I mean, both people giving you the one-eye symbolism off this cover are a part of their I mean, dude. Let's see what she's got to say now. All right? Because she's saying some shit. Excuse my language. She is saying it's going down.
We have not had a man walk up to a building with a suicide vest on in the United States. Americans don't understand this. Al-Qaeda knows this, right? So this is new and innovative, especially now. You don't have to walk upside of the building. You can walk in the building because of the advancement of the vest. The other thing is, in the United States, we haven't had Fideian attackers. So the concept is the terrorist fights to the death. So he's not exactly a suicide bomber, but he will fight till either all of us are dead or all of his people are dead. We think it's going to be a swarming attack, right? Multiple different attacks at one time across multiple cities. We think there will be suicide bombers just because some of the attackers went through suicide bomber training and they have these vests. And then we think there's these Fideian attackers who will carry on until they're killed.
You just rephrase that. So these guys are trained and they are going to fight until they're killed.
Yes, and that matters, right? So I was watching this video and it was a suicide bombing in Kabul years ago. The bomber blew up and then everyone starts moving in. The first responders move in, right? And then another guy walks in and blows up. We know this is a tactic. But if Americans don't understand this as a tactic and don't understand these attackers are going to fight to the death, think about that. Battle's going on. The attacker surrenders. He might have the suicide vest. You know, we let our guard down. That man came to die, right? He's going to fight till he dies or you die. So we can't let our guards down, and they know our weakness. So we have to be very careful that we don't have more people die in these second and third order effects of not knowing their intent.
Okay? It's the CIA dude again that she's talking to. It's just nuts. It's like they're all CIA that's pushing this. And they are. I'm not just saying that. They are. It's hard to get over. They're obviously pushing something, and there's truths in here. Okay? So we have to use discernment. It's key. She just said, and here, let me fill in a part that she didn't say in that clip, because there's a lot longer clip. She gives a little bit more detail and says on how these waves are going to happen. So, understand what they're saying right now. That it's here. The war has begun. It is here. It is in this country. And she's explaining exactly what these suicide vesters are going to look like that are about to happen. Unfortunately. It's here. It's here, man. Everyone sat on their tail. They didn't care about nothing out there. So they brought the war to them. They're going to make you care. They're going to force your hand now. And you either sit there and get blown away or you do something. So now what? You know they're here by the millions. You've known this. But yet they're telegraphing it hardcore, harder than they ever have. She says they're going to go in somewhere. Someone's going to blow themselves up. Okay? Then, first responders, emergency services, all these people are going to come and help. And as more people come into the scene, a secondary person enters and detonates themselves. And that these are the tactics and how it happens and how it works and what they do and what you was seeing these videos. That are coming in and doing it just like that. That Americans aren't ready because they haven't seen it. They're not paying attention. And that's what's going to happen. She's basically putting it on like 1,000 of them, saying there's 1,000 of them out there at least. Could be more, could be less, but at least that are willing to die, as you just heard, because you've seen it in these other places. It just hit. I've told you from forever. I've told you they were waiting on the bat signal. I've said it over and over and over. The bat signal has been given. It was January 1st. It was these events. It was it. It's it. It's on. They've seen it. They know it. And all these other things are already popping off. Man, this ain't good at all. And you know who's behind it. You know, if you ain't figured it out yet and you're just pulling up, man, you better do some hard research quick, but we've got this thing snuffed out pretty good. I'm just heavily censored. The truth is heavily censored. The truth is put out there, though. It's just riddled with lies. Half-truths is what they do. It's what they specialize in. And it's just little lies that are the kicker. You know? I can't get over how much they're everywhere. There's every time, everywhere we go, every video we look at, it was literally FBI or CIA or former. And I don't trust this dude as far as I can throw him. Their dude spewing his stuff. It's like a little Vice News to me. I don't trust it. I'll never trust anyone that's spent their whole life in their career working with them. What do you think? I mean, I'm not stupid. But I also know that they're pushing truths in this story. At least they're rebuffing a narrative. All right? So all of a sudden, you know, to finish up on this, I think some of the key points here are that the tie-in of the drones is crazy. In the technology, I think it's, in pointing to China, I'm telling you, this is huge. Day one, Donald Trump, write it down. We want an answer on these drones. I'm not going to stop till we get it. People will be screaming it wherever he's at. What's up with the drones, Trump? Tell us what's up with the drones, Trump. People be screaming it. We want to know. Is it China, Trump? Is it China? Is it China, Trump? Trump knows who it is. He already knows. He already knows. Then see, my thing is this: the fact if it was another country right now and we were at risk and they did not tell us or anything like that, that right there is cause for, well, major uproar. The sitting president, his name's Joe Biden. This guy is like barely gonna cross the finish line. Seriously, this guy's gonna barely cross the finish line. He's so disabled. He's hurt. He's hurting. He's just old at this point. Whoever's playing Joe Biden here, he showed up at this last conference and he had mystery marks on his face. They were saying it looked like his chin was bruised and he had a busted lip, and they basically said that they think that he you've seen all the clips, all the times they've tripped on the steps and all this. They think he bit it. It just it might be on camera somewhere, but he bit it pretty good. Who knows? They didn't make a whole scene out of it, but apparently he's wearing the wounds. And he's just all over the place. He can't, be left alone anywhere. I mean, that's why he's got agents around him everywhere. They got to guide him around every corner. At first, he was just wandering off. And we were seeing it. And I think they were like, oh, crap, man. Like, this dude is bad. Here's a clip. People are asking him questions, and it's garbage how he handled this. Trump handled it, what you would say was professionally, with his response. Biden has been just garbage on the whole thing. On New Year's Day, he just tweeted out, Happy New Year. Nothing about the events, the people have been killed overnight. And people were like, are you kidding me? Like, you have nothing to say about it?
Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Mr. President, have you spoken to any of the families of the victims in New Orleans?
Yes, I have.
What have they told you? What have their reflections been? Thank you, press. Thank you. Let's go, guys. Any update on the suspects in those incidents?
Let's go, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Brad. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I mean, really? Why even have the press conference? You had some lady walk up running them all out of there. Well, he's like, yeah. And like, he barely functioned. Can't even, he's the most basic stuff. It's bad. All right. Wrap up here with a handful of other stuff here and some final thoughts on this. Johnson wins speakership on first ballot. Apparently, for anyone that cares, this Mike Johnson is another politician. Puppet to me. But that's who moved into this position. Now, they keep it spicy out here. There's always some kind of drama. All of a sudden, this corrupt judge, as they call it, Juan Merchan, orders Trump to be sentenced in this hush money case on January 10th. So out of nowhere, all of a sudden, here's a wild card. He's going to sentence Trump. This is going to, if they start doing things like this, it really makes you wonder, like, what will they, dude, they gave us Biden last time, for crying out loud. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we get down to Kamala and she doesn't certify the election. It would be the hugest conflict of interest, but it would make her president. And oh my gosh, that's like nightmare right there. And what if she does it because she who knows? They sentence him. He's got to go on like house arrest or something stupid. Or I don't even know. I don't even know where they could take this. We've talked about these possibilities in the past. I thought that this they put this to bed. I thought that this wasn't a possibility at this point, but no, here it's back, and he's gonna do it. So he's flipped the script. We'll see. So now, mark your calendars. In 7 days, in a week, Donald Trump is going to be sentenced in this hush money case, of which they're nailing him to the wall, saying he's guilty, and paid all this stuff, and all the proof, and this and that. They're going to send him to jail, give him a felony. They're going to use that to stop. I mean, man, anything's possible, I guess. So, Trump, I told you, he's going to have this big victory rally a day before inauguration. And they plan to have it at Capital One Arena, January 19th. This is the home to the Washington Wizards basketball team and the Washington Capitals hockey team. It can hold 20,000 people. And a ton of people are like, just don't do it. Because they feel like there's going to be some kind of event, you know? Like something's going to happen. Like people are just like, don't do it. Like, you know. I mean, he already went through the whole ritual of the ear piercing and everything else. It's ridiculous. But look, I was at Trump's inauguration last time. I could say that. I was there. It was something to behold. You can see this, a picture of it right here. You can just see all of these people. It was crazy. That's massive. I don't know if you've ever been to DC, but that mall, it's long. I mean, look at it right there. It goes way back down there, all the way down to the phallus, to the obelisk. It's all the way down. It's packed. It was all packed. And I worked my way in through all these different areas, anywhere and everywhere that I could get to film as much as possible. But one of the best places to set up was like right over here on the right, up off this wall that looked down into an entryway that fed in, because you can't just get in there. Like, you've got to go through one of like 3 choke points to get into this whole place, like a park or something. It's all fenced off, the craziest security you'll ever see. You might as well say there's a camera everywhere. And a lot of people. And I showed footage a couple streams ago. I filmed the bikers confronting BLM at one of the gates. It got big, packed and crowded. And that was just at the gate. I mean, once you got inside, this is what it was like. The place just packed. So many people. Like, I don't know, man. It was just like you were like, I don't even, some theme park. I don't know, it was loaded with people. I don't, it was just nuts. There were so many people. And so many different things going on. I'll never forget, we was up there, we watched them pull out this golden calf. And we were like, what is going on? And me and watchers were tripping on it. And they pulled out sage or something, and they started whipping it around it. I'm like, what are we witnessing right in front of us? Like, and we were telling ourselves, like, man, nah, they're about to go over and destroy that thing. They got to be, like, getting it ready to go destroy it. And, dude, no, they didn't. I got it all on film. I was live streaming, and I covered it all. I ran up on these fools, and I was like, man, y'all gonna destroy that thing, right? And they were like, no, they caught this attitude. They went storming off and all this and that. I was like, are you kidding me? And they were like hoisting it up like it was the golden calf. And it was that symbolic thing. And I was like, are you kidding me? They were doing like some symbolic ritual right there. And we had to like run up on them. It was like crazy. they do these things up there, man. When you get up off your tail and you get up out there and you see something in the world, you'll see some of these crazy things that you'll never see unless you're out there. But this time, this is like Willy Wonka's factory. You got to have the golden ticket to get in. You have got to secure a golden ticket to get in. I honestly didn't prefer to even be in there. When I was in, I preferred to stay where I was at, up on this wall, because it was the best vantage point for me filming and looking down above everything and just to see everything. Kind of similar to the shot right there. I was up on a perch, up on a wall. I was just catching everything from there. And that's where I would rather be. And you could sit on a wall up here on the outside and not even be on the inside of this. To get in on the inside, go through the gate. As you can see here, now you have to have the golden ticket. So this is nuts. And it's being limited to Trump's base voters. Like who made the decision? Like, this is a selected thing. Like, they're picking and choosing, and like, God. I don't know, man. It's one big club again, man. Trust me. Last time they had the deplorable outside of up there, and there was all these things that went down, and there was some dark ritual stuff. We caught them doing some stuff outside of the deplorable, out in the street. There was some crazy stuff that broke loose. Chaos fights. I got it all on camera, too. So much stuff. This dude got socked in the face right there. They had these big old things blown up. It was madness, man. Not to mention, I got the footage during the day. They lit the limos on fire. They were throwing repercussion grenades at us right in front of us. It ran right up in front of me. From right behind me, copped in, just dude right in front of me. I got it all on film. It just boom. Like, it's disgusting, man. Like, the way they operate up there is garbage. Was I armed? I can't remember where and when, all the times that I've been armed or not, but up there, I'm going to say no in D.C., because you already know you got to go through the detectors just to get in and all this other stuff. And they don't allow any of that up in D.C. There's already strict limits and rules and all this. Even people in the Congress and all this have got to go through all the strict stuff to have guns or ammunition, even in D.C. So it's different rules. Look, D.C. is different than the rest of the country, and you got to realize this. It's like its own district. It is, the District of Columbia. But it's like its own empire of the city is what we call it. There's a flag that's flown that has 3 stars that represents the empire of the city. The military hub is Washington. The financial hub is London. The spiritual hub is the Vatican. And all 3 are the same way. They're set up the same way. London's the same way. The Vatican City's the same way. It's not a part of the surrounding country. It's its own place with its own laws, its own rules, and everything. People just don't realize this. And also don't realize that most of these states are registered corporations, is what they are. They realize it's a corporation of the United States. And under your social security number, you are an employee of that. And that can be traded on the markets and everything else. It blow your mind. It blow your mind. Most people just ain't ready for how deep some of these rabbit holes go, but they do. Here's one. U.S. Army soldier arrested for hacking Trump and Kamala's personal phones and selling it online. So, if this young dude, man, 20-year-old John Wagnius, Cameron John Wagnius, if he can pull this off, let me tell you, the Chinese are embedded in all of our stuff. You can bet if he got Trump and Kamala's phones in their stuff, dude. Oh, man. So he got it. He got Trump's goods, man. And Kamala's. Ah. They got him. He's busted for it, but man, it's just it's like, yeah. They got in there and got the goods. I'm gonna push on off out of the politics here and touch on a few other stories here. This is sad because I would love to go to Mexico. I've often, many times, thought about it, and I even was going to plan a huge trip and go with one of my Mexican friends that talked me out of it. And I couldn't understand forever because I'd see these other people going down and like Jeff Berwick staying down in Acapulco and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, why can't, I don't get it. He's like, dude, it's set up different, man. The cartels down there are real. The deaths, the murders are real for like nothing. If they see that you're out of state or this and that, got tags from the wrong place, you can get killed. Well, that has postponed me ever going to Mexico because I've always wanted to go down to. I couldn't tell you how many places I've got pinned on Google Earth of crazy stuff that I found. That if I could just go there, I'm telling you, there's something. And this has always stopped me. Stuff just like this. So what we've got is 3 people are dead, including 2 Americans that are from Chicago, in an attack that took place in Mexico on Friday. We have Vicente Peña Rodriguez and Antonio Fernandez Rodriguez, both Americans, killed. As was a local resident, Jorge Eduardo Vargas. The teenage son that was with them was wounded in critical condition. They were there for the teenage kid's birthday celebration. They decided to just go down to Mexico, take a trip, go down and see some places, this and that. Nope. It was a massacre. They rolled up on him. It was near Las Palmas. That's in Jalisco. I looked it up. Other than that, they were traveling in an SUV with Illinois' license plate, and it was just attacked. They were killed. These guys were shot multiple times in the head. Americans, man. If anybody cares, souls lost here, RIP to these guys, to all of them that were murdered for no reason. And this is what's happening all the time. Yeah. So, yeah, man. It's real. And it's going to go to a whole nother level here as soon as Trump gets in there because he's going after these cartels in a whole different way. The military is going to be utilized. It's all going to be switched up here. We can't have this, man. You can't have this. People should be able to cross and go down to Mexico, be able to go to Mexico City, see some of the places, the pyramids, all those things. Go to Cancun, do all these things and not have to worry about this. You know, see some of the ancient sites, but no. Mexico doesn't even have control of its own territory. It's nuts, man. I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you, man, when militaries move, look at Russia and Ukraine. Every inch that they went in with the military, when you use the military, every inch of land that you go in, rolling them tanks into to occupy, like that is yours. No one goes into any territory and just gives it back, gives it up. No, Like Russia is keeping if you want to negotiate something afterwards, that's a different story. Majority of the time, no. When you conquer a land, it is your land. You understand? So Trump is saying he's using the military to roll in on the cartels. And he even called it a soft invasion into freaking Mexico. Do you understand what is about to happen, man? With a roll our military right off the bat, right in there, this could get crazy. You don't think there's not going to be attacks that start happening all over the place here? Give me a break. It's already begun. Man, dude, this stuff right here is going to be happening in Texas. All the border, all over the place. All over the place. I'm not just going to say Texas. All over the place. All over the place. I'm telling you, get ready. Start buying you boxes and crates of ammunition. Would you really think? Did you really think that these millions of people that came in here, that like nothing was going to happen? Huh. Trap set. I'm telling you, my biggest thing is once they get this ball rolling, if they switch over to bird flu in the mix of it, it's game over. It's game over. All these little camps that they just made will be for any dissidents. I'm telling you. Finish up with this one says the U.S. Navy may still have the most powerful force, but China has surpassed us in numbers in terms of all the ships, all these things, all the new state-of-the-art stuff. I told you they just dropped a 6th gen, forget which Mach it was, hypersonic stealth drone that floats in just like a stealth. Just can float. And you wonder why they're talking about anti-gravitics. This technology, what these drones have. China just showed you. China just showed you in broad daylight. The propulsion systems. Now, I think a lot of this is getting mixed and confused because I also do believe in the end, we're seeing a lot of different technology being rolled out. The drones are one thing, like we said before, the orbs and all this stuff, your classic UFOs or UAPs, those kind of craft. There's a bunch of different things going on. I think it's important to keep the drones separated, you know. Anything you're seeing out there with, the green and the red FAA lights on it with 4 propellers and this and that. Last I checked, though, to try to do a fact check on what this dude's trying to say in the story. Not a single story of them chasing these drones has said that it just zipped and took off like a UFO. Not a one. Not one said that. What they described it as is they would chase these things, and they could chase them all over. We've got video of them chasing them. They chase them, and 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 basically, they run out of gas. They don't take off at a hypersonic speed and smoke them. That's not what they're saying is happening with these drones. That's not what they've been. We see it in the video, for crying out loud. They're right there behind them, tracking them. They're not doing hypersonic speeds or nothing like that. So that's not on display there. It hasn't been described by the guys in the military bases neither that actually chased them. Remember, they said they didn't have a thermal image. They were not giving off a signal. Like they were pre-programmed or something. Running on AI was what was said. And that they had a different kind of battery system, and that was or gas tank or something that was allowing them to go on forever. So there was updated tech. We know this, so that matches. I gotta say the China thing is the big kind of like Man, if it is China, if it's another country, man, I can't help but think that, like, we're like super smoked, but it's a setup. It's a setup. Our government's just allowing it to happen. It's a setup. It's a setup. It's a setup. It's a setup. Like rigging a building with explosives. It's a setup. Man, it's a setup. It's all a setup. I'll trust none of them. But look at this. Biden is presented with an option to strike Iran nuke sites right now. Saying it's a race against time. Oh, man. So add this to the list of things that could pop off. Any minute, they could just start striking Iran. All right, so we'll break this down here. Give some final thoughts here. Where I think this is all going here, man. Check the chat. Yeah, it's a trap. It's a trap, in my opinion. So, just reading a couple of the comments here. And thank you, all of you guys. Much love. Thank you very much. Felt like Elvis there for a second. I feel like somehow, some way, another story, they're going to keep this going. I don't think it leaves us. We've known this was coming. You know it. We're in it. Don't you know? We warned this the whole time. This window, months before we entered it, months before we got to this point, we've known that this was coming. We knew that this window would be all hands on deck, so many different options on the table. We knew it. We know we're here. We're right in the thick of it. And now it's popping off everywhere. I mean, just like clockwork. So, 3 days in. An interesting start to the year. I'm going to have to say stay vigilant. Get a plan together. I think that there's a lot of things coming at us. Guys, don't forget, anyone out there is going to get caught in this weather, the ice storm of it, and this and that. You could be down for days. Anyone that's in a crowded area from here. If you're going to some Super Bowl or anything like it, any festivals, anything out there, man, just be ready for whatever. It seems like the open areas where people are going to be the prime targets if something's going to happen. Okay, so, yeah, man. Much love. God bless to all you guys. I want to thank everyone that joins me. And God willing, I'll be back for another one. I just think that these are going to continue, man. I think that it's a given that, like, by the next show, we're going to have more to talk about. We'll have either some crazy wild updates and connections on the stuff that just happened, or other events are going to happen. I feel like this is what's going to happen. I feel like other events are about to happen that are going to, like, blow these away. They're going to overshadow it. they're going to be bigger, more talked about. They're going to grab attention. And they're going to be what they are. They haven't materialized yet, but they're coming. And when they do, then you'll realize, okay, well, and as they progress, people are going to forget about some of these other ones, especially if a huge thing happens. What'd that lady say? Multiple cities, like a massive event's about to happen, where they're going to strike across the board. She said all that. Like she gave all those details away. It's like any moment now. Any moment now. Man, just stay sharp, y'all. Be ready. Don't let your guard down. And, what is this? Multiple people in D.C. have been shot. Dozens of emergency crews currently on the scene in D.C. So that's a story posted here. This has all been going down within the last hour or so. As we're exiting here, just checking the feeds here, looking. This is some of the stuff I'm seeing here. So an event there. I don't know what there. I'll keep you posted on my X timeline, but that's what I see thus far. Again, I'll try to be back here for the next one, as always, going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. You guys got to stay safe. And I hope to see you guys on Monday. Yeah. Just hope nothing crazy happens between now and then. All right, guys. Taking us out. Much love. God bless. Legendary Elon, thank you so much. Appreciate it more than you know. And everyone else that supports the channel, it's appreciated more than you know. Much love. God bless, guys. Stay warm. Pure bloods, baby. Thank you, Adam.